morning, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from MasonWorks Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone again. And I am excited to introduce you to my new friend, Joshua Shapiro. Hi, Joshua.
Hi, Kathy. Thank you for having me this morning.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Ohio, and my mother's doctor was Nate Shapiro. So it's sort of like, oh, I saw your name. I was like, oh, family somehow.
Yeah, probably.
Probably, yeah. So Joshua, let's go into your fascination and your huge, it's amazing gift that you have that you work with crystal skulls. I'll explain a little bit about my affinity to it, but I would love to have the audience understand the opportunity that this connection could do for them. Okay?
Okay. So this is a little one that I have with me. It's called Geronimo Golden Eagle Eye because he loves indigenous energies, and I've had some shamans that like him. So this is what we're going to be speaking about, which are uh, pieces of different gemstones that are put into the shape of a skull. Now, it could be like this one here. That was a human skull. This is a dragon skull, which I have these carvers in India that are making this for me. So different people are drawn to different shapes of skulls. Um, but the key to working with the crystal skulls is that they hold energy and they also have living consciousness that works through them once they become activated, and they kind of form a relationship. I just call myself a guardian. I have about 30 personal ones, which I shared with my wife when she was alive, Katrina. Of course, she's here in spirit right next to me. So she may say a couple of things for me to add during the interview. I hear her in my thinking voice. So right now she's quiet. She says, "You know everything. Just go ahead and talk." All right. So the other thing I just wanted to say to start with is, now that you see what the skulls are, there are 4 different types of crystal skulls that I've met since I started researching, working with them, having adventures with them from 1983. And that is, this would be an example of a modern crystal skull made by a modern carver using diamond tip tools, because quartz crystal, which this is made out of smoky quartz, is a very hard substance. So we have modern or contemporary skulls. Then we have old skulls, which are over 100 years old. We have ancient or very old skulls, which is like over 1,000 or 2,000. And then we have what's called an imported crystal skull, which would be one that just comes seemingly from nowhere. Of course, that's not possible. It's coming from some other dimension, but it just appears in our reality. So those are the 4 types. Now, there really isn't a great way other than the modern skulls for us to know, like how old are they? Where did they come from? We don't know all of that. Sometimes if we work with a crystal skull and we work with a person who's a sensitive, they may pick up on things related to that specific artifact, like its history or where it came from or how it was made, etc. But we don't always know. For me, the most important aspect of the crystal skulls are the energies they hold and how they help us with our spiritual evolution and growth. And then I think eventually in the future, because we do like this world peace meditation on the 13th of every month. So we're going to be starting that up again for 2025. We did 13 meditations in 2024, thanks to my friends in British Columbia, Harry and Kathy. They're going to do this one coming up in January. And then my group, Crystal Skull Explorers Community, where I have 10 counselors with me, we're going to be doing a new version of a world peace meditation. So that's a very quick overview about crystal skulls. So I'm turning it back to Kathy.
Okay, so my fascination with them is I feel the energy from all crystals,
Yeah.
but there's no question to me. There's no theory about it. There's definitely beings that attach themselves to
Yeah.
these skulls, no matter how they're carved,
Right.
that really are assistants. They aren't just decorative, which even they are. I mean, the dragon you just showed, was that labradorite?
Uh, Atlanticite, which comes out of
Oh,
Australia. It's
oh,
a purple greenstone. It's a new stone, I guess, that just came out. So my
a
carver
new
in
stone.
India, yeah, my carver in India had access to it, and I started sharing it, and they go very fast.
Yeah,
Okay,
well, it's beautiful. Well, what I wanted to say is that I have one here. I bought your your booklet
right.
about Amy,
Yeah.
about the amethyst skull, because this guy's name is Lucas. And when
Okay.
I picked him up, I was at I just got him a year ago, and at first he was kind of ornery a little bit. I mean, so strong. I picked him up. I just started crying,
Hmm.
and then I put him for the past, I don't know how many months, on the Keys of Enoch's book, the white,
Okay. Yeah, I know that book.
and
Yeah.
now he behaves very well. But
Okay.
his energy was very, very loud. It wasn't like you could do anything else except with him in the room. Um,
Okay.
and and so what's fascinating is you also had a crystal skull that was called Amy, that AMI is. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah, it wasn't my skull. It was
Oh,
the
oh,
first.
okay.
It was the first one I saw, which it got sold, and no one knows where it is right now. And
Well,
I'm in touch with her telepathically, and I know she's not happy because she would like to travel and be with people and work with people like many of the other ones do. But she's with a private owner,
well,
so
well.
and she's quite old.
I read the book. I read your booklet, and I bought it and read it. And what was fascinating to me is you could sense it's a twin. It's not, and in the book it says that it was from one big crystal, and the one side is deep purple and the other side's more clear. And you could feel it, that there was a binary presence, even in your writing or your pictures about it. You could
Mhm.
almost feel the ghost of it. Um,
Yeah,
my question is, because I can show a few more of mine. I have I have a little collection. And I've only bought them if they've talked to me.
right.
I don't, they're not decoration really.
Okay.
Although they are decorative. Okay. Do you feel that the original ancient skulls were used to transfer consciousness from one physical body to another? Or do you feel that they've always been like masters that have chosen to help humanity?
It has come up in people that we've visited with, a few people that in times past, possibly in Atlantis, where there were priestesses or something that literally they took their living consciousness and put them into skulls, but that wasn't done in a kind way. As far as the original crystal skulls, I'm going to go with what Katrina is saying to me right now, which is they're probably from a consciousness that is beyond our, um, let's say, our reality in this universe. Is probably a higher consciousness that said, okay, uh, this is a way that we can be present in that um, classroom of God, like every reality is a classroom of God, creator. So they could have teleported themselves as a skull to appear in our reality. So I would say it's more something like that, for the what are called the original skulls, or they were gifts from a galactic race that really loved humanity and just said this will be a great tool to help humanity to grow and evolve, and we're just going to gift it to them. But
Mhm.
in either case, my sensing is, and this has got to be from soul memory, because I don't believe any of these original skulls have shown themselves yet. Their vibration is way too high. We couldn't deal with them. Um, I think that they're back in some higher dimension right now. Like they came from a higher dimension and they came into our reality, and then humanity's not ready for them, so they went back up. Like there's a clear blue crystal skull, which I went looking for in Peru. This is one of the books I offer. It's called Search for the Blue Skull in Peru. And my sensing of it is it's still not in our physical reality. Like for me, it just appears all the time, like up in this direction. I can sense it there, but it's not in the physical reality. And the only way I can share it with people is it will kind of float over my right hand. And then I say to other people, put your hand over this hand, and they can kind of feel a strong energy there. So I think that, but if this blue skull is one of the original ones, what I can tell you about it is it has its own living consciousness.
Hmm.
In other words, it's not somebody made the skull and then a consciousness went into it, which is the case with most of the ones we work with now. This of itself, by itself, the whole being that it is, it just created itself to be this skull. This is why it's in a higher state of higher dimensional state, and that's why I think it's eventually they're going to come back down here because yeah, okay. So Katrina's saying what I believe too is happening this year. We're moving right now, even as you and I are speaking, we're moving in 5D much faster than ever before. And this year, before the end of this year, the world as we know it is going to be completely different
Yay.
than what we've ever seen. Okay, now I know this because Katrina is my guide, and who I become in 2037 and 2040 in this lifetime is also a guide. And he also is telling me this is like a key year. So I think because it's a key year, there's going to be more interest in people working with crystal skulls to help bring out these higher frequencies of energy, to work together, to co-create, which is what I hope will happen through the center that I'm holding the energy for. The Center for the Advancement of Humanity will have a department working with crystal skulls. And we also have the group that I formed last year called the Crystal Skull Explorer Community, which is just on Facebook right now, but we have like 300 members. And we're constantly, the counselors, I have 9 or 10 counselors, we're looking at what kinds of things can we do online to educate our members. So we'll probably have another crystal skull panel online. We had one, I think it was in September, and people really loved it because we had all these different people giving different perspectives on it. So I think we're going to do another one. And this time, instead of my being a moderator, I'm going to try to just be a panelist and have some of the other counselors be the moderator,
Uh-huh.
so that I can just be there like a regular person, because I'm always in the center of things. Being Aries, I can't help myself. I see something that has to be done and nobody's doing it, then I'm just going to go do it and see who will join me. So
That's great. That's great. Okay. So as far as people understanding their relationship with these energies, the thing that I wanted people to understand is that they may be gifted or presented with a skull, and it actually disrupts them at first. And but it's sent there just like a being may reincarnate in a wizard tree or in a big a mountain, Mount Kailash. I mean, there's beings that are high consciousnesses that want to create a relationship with the physical world where they put part of their consciousness or part of their soul
yeah,
into a physical thing to help us here.
right.
And there's so many ways that these, I've got a set of 4 that I was given for my birthday 5 years ago,
Hmm.
that were all there. It's rose
Y-
quartz and
yeah,
amethyst and obsidian and clear, and they're beautiful. They actually were these were infused with rife frequencies
uh,
besides them. So they have and they work together for healing. So there's all sorts of ways to use material, crystal, certainly crystal. So why do you think they talk about, like, I got to sit with Max, the
Hmm.
crystal skull. Have you ever experienced him?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so he feels like he is a being,
Yeah, he is.
and that, and I felt like I couldn't unpack everything I was given right away. I
Hmm.
I felt like it took a month or maybe more
Yeah.
to even get all of that information. Could you talk about that a little bit, so people, if they do get a visceral feeling from holding a crystal or a crystal skull, how they work with them?
Yeah. So um, the way I would go first is either you're going to feel a resonance with, let's say, like you said, Max. Max would be a very old skull that a guardian is taking and traveling with, and you have the opportunity to meet it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the first crystal skull you see will be one of the older ones. It could be that it could be one of these newer ones that are being made as well. So I will go with my experience with my first new skull, which is called Portal de Luz, which unfortunately he's decided to go into the ocean to help heal the ocean at the moment. Otherwise, I probably would have showed him to you
Ah.
in this interview. So I wasn't prepared that he was going to do this, and it took me 2 days to get over it because I'm very connected with him. But I can still feel him right here, and I check with him and I say, "Are you doing okay?" And he goes, "I'm on a great adventure. I'm good. Don't worry about me." So I just tell whoever works with the skulls on the level of spirit, our center would appreciate if he comes back to us because he has more work to do. And so he's on loan to the ocean right now. So if any of the galactic beings want to teleport him and have it where I wake up one morning and there he is sitting in my room, I'd appreciate it rather than trying to figure out when I'm supposed to go back to the beach and hope that he's come out on the sand. Um, but anyway, each one, so once you have the connection with a crystal skull, you start to create a relationship with it. And the crystal skull, this consciousness, will already know which of your spiritual gifts are you the strongest with. So for me, I'm the strongest with my telepathy, which I hear in my mind's voice, and I'm the strongest with feeling of energy. So, like when Katrina communicates with me from spirit, I can feel she's there, and then sometimes I hear what she has to say to me. Okay, so it's the same with the crystal skull. So, this is the way they work, especially if there's a living consciousness that's connected. They already can link into your energy and know, okay, I already know with this person or my guardian. I don't like to call myself an owner. I think guardian is the best because they're picking us, we're not picking them, really. um, as the guardian, they know what are your strongest gifts, and they will start to help you to maybe make those gifts stronger, or that's the way that they'll communicate with initially. But they could communicate with you in different ways also later on, or they could help you to develop some of your other spiritual gifts. So the main thing that I found in the beginning, like when Portal de Luz came to me, I just start meditating with him like almost every day, and eventually I just totally integrated with his energy, which is what's happening now because he's not here in the room with me. He's in the ocean right now, but I'm still in touch with him telepathically and on a feeling level. So it's like he's communicating with me and saying, "No, I haven't come out. No, somebody else didn't find me and they didn't take me, and you'll never see me again. I'm still in the ocean doing the work I'm doing." But that's because I've been with him since 1999. So that's like going on 25 years. Okay, so we just built up over that time that relationship. I don't need to have him around me for me to link into him or some of the other skulls as well, and some of the older skulls which are not mine, like me. I can also, I think about a me and I can feel her, uh, her essence, and I can feel she's not happy, and and it's the same with a few of the other skulls too that I have strong affinity for. So it's like you just create a relationship, and everybody, it's different. So you can't just say, okay, I'm listening what Joshua did and I do what he does. Well, that may not work for you because maybe those two gifts I have, they're not your gifts. Maybe you're a vision, maybe you go with dreams, or maybe you smell, maybe you have different gifts. So you just have to trust the process. And
Well,
also, people need to understand too, sometimes a skull will come and you'll have no experience with it. And nothing may happen for 6 months or a year. And then all of a sudden it gets activated. So you have to always use your intuition and never give up. And that's the same thing too for whatever spiritual work that we may each have. We may not have had the opportunity yet to do what we've really come here to do. And I'm going to tell you, this year you better be ready because all kinds of opportunities are going to start happening. Okay.
well,
This
the
one last
benefit.
Let me say one last comment. No, it's okay. So what Spirit keeps repeating to me over and over again, there is a major domino that has not fallen yet. It is not that Trump got elected. It's nothing that's happened yet. There's a major domino that hasn't fallen yet, but when it does, all the rest come after it and nothing can stop it. So the main challenge for those of us who think of us as spiritual light workers or, here to help the world, our friends and family, when the truth starts coming out on so many different levels, they're going to start going crazy. We're here to assist them. They're going to come to us and say, all that stuff that I really dishonored you and thought you were crazy. Now I understand it's correct. And please forgive me, but I need to really understand this because I don't know how to live in a world like this where there's peace and harmony and all these advanced technologies and the galactic beings are coming down here. And the world's going to be totally different.
Well, I'm so excited. I mean, that's the only thing I could say is, after the lockdown and everything, and it changed so much of our society. That was just the first step of people starting to get consciously aware of their feelings and
Yeah.
and get into their intuition, because that is a major skill going forward. And that's why I was so excited when you said yes to talking with my audience, is that these are spiritual people that run small businesses that they're already working with their intuition, but they could use the support that a crystal skull could give them, or any kind of physical support like that, whether it's a beautiful crystal. I think that there's something very unique. I wasn't drawn aesthetically to a skull, but there's something about, like with the Max skull and a lot of the bigger skulls, I've had the benefit of putting my third eye on its
Yeah.
third eye. And wow, what happens? It's this transfer. And as I said, you don't always unpack it all at
Yeah.
once. I used to tell them to slow down. And then I was like, oh, well, it'll unpack when it's
Well, the reason for that is because they don't know when they're going to see you again.
right.
And so this is the chance. Here's what I have for you. You have more time now. You can take it day by day and work on it and just let it integrate itself with you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the same thing when I do a session with the crystal skulls for people. I know that I'll probably never see those people again in my life. So I'm gonna challenge myself as an Aries to give the very best information that I can. How can in other words, my gift is I can feel where the person is at the moment. And
Mhm.
so it's like I know what do I need to say to help them, or what technique do I need to give them so they can become their most dynamic self, because
Right.
that's what this year is going to be about. As all these positive things happen, we're going to start to become more of our authentic self and our powerful self, and we're not going to be giving our power away, and we're just going to be like empowering each other with our creativity, with our thoughts, with our ideas, with our projects. I have so many projects that are going on inside of me. You know, it's like I keep speaking to whoever's listening to me in spirit. Come on, I'm ready. Let's go. You know, I can't keep holding on to all these things for forever. I have a life to live. I want to start going. I want to start hiring all my soul family that we can do this stuff. So I just feel like this year the doors are getting ready, major doors are getting ready to open. And we may see
Massive.
something, we may see something here in January. I just don't know when it's going to happen, Bo.
Well, I used to feel anxious about what you're talking about. All last year, it felt like, oh, hurry up, and then hurry up and wait, or whatever. Hurry
Yeah,
up. But now it's sort of you had to come to a point where you trust that as long as you will follow your intuition
yeah,
and you're aware of your senses, that you will be guided. That's the thing that I want the audience to know,
yeah,
that
it's
don't
true.
be afraid that you'll be left behind, because if you came here to serve,
Yeah,
there'll be plenty of opportunities. And as long as it's not through an ego based, or that you know it all and no one else knows anything, if you're open to learning and sharing and being a student as well as a teacher, there's just a world of wonder that's going to open up right now.
exactly. And the other key is, if there's something you want to do and you're bumping your head against the wall and nothing's happening, then it's not the right time. Okay. So, like, the universe knows I am as an Aries, so it's already given me two major projects that I'm, leading for the center, besides the website, besides a video channel, and besides Telegram. Which, if there's any of you out there that know of Telegram and you want to know what's really going on behind the scenes, you need to get on Telegram, because every day I check on Telegram, what is the news, what's going on, and then I verify it inwardly with my intuition. And it's just like, there's amazing things that are coming out. The information that's coming out everywhere is unbelievable. So, you know, I think one of the keys that maybe for this year is that UFO disclosure ends. Disclosure doesn't exist anymore, because we're going to know that we have galactic beings. But I'm going to share one thing that may come up, which is going to totally shock people. Not all of these beings are from other worlds. They're from our realm. So if you want to know what I'm talking about with that, you need to contact me afterwards and ask me about the 9 free ebooks that I shared. That's what I did while we were going through COVID, is I created seven. I personally created 7 of these books, and 2 of them I got from other people, and I just keep sharing them, because it's helping people to know the truth of what's really going on and where we're headed. So if you're curious about that last statement, what do I mean by other types of beings that are here in our realm, you have to contact me after this interview.
Well, I think that they probably, if they're following me, they already know
Okay.
a lot of that. So what we want people to understand is that the ancients all knew a lot of the information that has been, I would say, colonialized. The information that was originally in indigenous cultures was replaced with a different history line, a different dynamic, and so all of that's being peeled away to show the truth. The truth will always be revealed, and this is a time of truth, and truth to yourself, truth to humanity, and the opportunity to be the expansive being that you really are is just around the corner. And there's enough of us out here that you don't have to be afraid of it anymore.
Right. Like, for example, I've started here in Florida what's called Soul Family Gatherings.
Uh-huh.
and we have 4 cities now. And this is just, we set up a space, and everybody is their authentic self, and they can come and talk about whatever they want. So they know that they're not crazy. And some people are asking about these new things that are getting ready to be released, like the new financial system, the new technologies, all of this. So, it's a very safe space. So more and more people are starting to talk about these things, and they're getting ready to manifest. So, it's just like, not to be afraid of what's coming up in the future, but also too, if something doesn't feel good for you, don't give your power away to it. Just be aware of it. Like some people say, I don't want to know about, let's say, the dark part of what's happening in the world, but I do, because in order for me to understand what's what's happening and where we're going, I need to know both sides of it, and also so I'm not giving my power away to things that don't resonate for me. So knowledge is always power, and even though there's a lot of things that have been happening that when we learn about it, it's going to be very distasteful. The whole world is going through a total transformation right now. We're going into a higher vibrational state. We're getting help from a lot of spiritual and galactic beings. It's going to be paradise. That's according to my future self, whose name is Arjas. When I look through his eyes, I only see paradise. And that's only between 2037 and 2040 is where he says that he is. So it's not that far away. So
Perfect.
I think this year that we're in now is where we're going to finally start to see some of these positive things coming, whether it's new technology or our galactic brothers and sisters walking amongst us. Because there's so many people now who are looking in the sky and seeing all kinds of stuff. And this doesn't include those drones that were appearing like in New Jersey or whatever. This is far beyond that.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so it's like at any moment of time, some major miracle could just show up. Now, the other key to this is if every one of your viewers, if you would just agree to assume that this wonderful reality is where we're going and you don't see any other possibility, then you are helping to co-create it and bring it in faster.
That's right. That's right. That's
Because
right.
we're all divine children of God, and everything is created through the power of mind. I mean, we are an image in God, in Creator's mind. And Creator once gave me a message when I asked it, said, we're so tiny and insignificant compared to this huge universe and everything that we're in. And how do we benefit you? And he said, through your unique experiences. That's it. Just be yourself. And through your experiences, that's how I grow, is through you.
Right.
So
Well,
there's,
I kind of look at God, or source, as a big database, and
mhm,
we're the USB drives, and
okay.
so that's why we're given the ones that actually do something with the downloads or the memos that are given. That's why more is given, because it wants input. It wants to expand. That was the only reason to replicate and divide into us. So
Yeah.
that's the exciting part. So you just did a class on beyond being human. Do you want to share a little bit about that so people might know how they might learn from you a little bit more besides your books?
Beyond being human, I did. Are you sure?
I thought it was you just did a three-part class on beyond being human. Didn't you do it with Michael?
No,
Oh, okay. I'm
that
sorry.
wasn't me.
Oh,
That wasn't
okay.
me.
Oh, okay. Okay, doke. Okay. Well, he contacted me when he saw that I was setting this up and said you did. Oh well.
Oh,
Okay.
you're talking about Michael from
Beyond.
Australia. Yeah,
Yes.
but that class wasn't about beyond being human. That's just the name of his group,
Right.
right? Okay.
Right. Do you want to talk about that class that you created for that group? I'm part
Well,
of his group.
okay, because it was on crystal skulls.
Right.
That's the class that I did with him.
Yeah. Do you
Okay,
want to
that's
talk a little bit about that? Because You
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to.
so if anyone goes to Beyond Being Human and checks it out, he has a almost 2-hour class that he did with me where I'm showing a lot of slides and different crystal skulls and explaining, some of my personal experiences, which we haven't really had time to go into. So, okay, so now I know what you're talking about. So that's really a very in-depth class. Like if somebody really feels a strong connection with the crystal skulls. It's like the best stuff I have. That's what I was able to give in that class. The history, where they came from, um, and also some suggestions of techniques of working with them, even beyond what I talked about. So that's what you're asking me about. Yeah. So that was done towards the end of last year. So it's been around for a while. And he did a really good job to help me in the presentation of it, like with the graphics and everything. So it was really powerful. There you go. Exploring the crystal skulls. Yeah. So that would be a really good class to take. He's not charging all that much money for that. Um, if you really want to know more about the crystal skulls, if you want to see more pictures about the ancient ones and the new ones and the old ones and some of the stories. Yep. Your sound is muted, Kathy.
Thank you. I said, thank you, thank you. Okay,
Okay.
so when we hear about the 13 original skulls, could you talk a little bit about that? Because I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark created this whole persona or imagination about skulls. Could you talk a little bit about the what the indigenous talk about when they talk about the 13 original ancient skulls?
Yeah. So the concept is that most likely gifted by the galactics, they brought to the earth 13 master skulls, one in the center surrounded by 12. And this either comes through the indigenous people or in the first book that I wrote with Nasserino and Bowen, Mystery of the Crystal Skulls Revealed. There was a gentleman that we interviewed in that book who was a medium and spiritual channel, Michael Kent. And he said that the original 13 skulls were actually linked to these 13 or 12 tribes that
Oh,
lived inside the inner earth. So, in other words, they weren't necessarily the indigenous people that we know about on the surface. These were different galactic races that had chosen to live inside the surface of the earth. Okay.
mhm.
So, like, they just call it the inner earth or whatever. And so it could possibly be connected to that these galactic races brought an entire crystal skeleton with them, a skull and body that had their total DNA encoded inside of it. And then eventually these 13 skulls came out onto the surface of the earth. And this is what the indigenous people started to work with. Now, in contact with the Mayans, they talk about the number 52. And I'm thinking that what they're trying to communicate with us is that there could be 4 sets of 13, which they had 1 set, and maybe some other indigenous people have other sets of 13. Another concept with this is the one surrounded by the 12 doesn't just come up with skulls. They talk about in our solar system is the sun surrounded by 12 planets, possibly. In the Hebrew religion, which I was brought up under, you have the Levites, which are the priests surrounded by the 12 tribes of Israel. The same thing with Christ. You have Christ surrounded by 12 apostles. So this concept of one surrounded by 12 seems to come up a lot in the history of our world and these different cultures and religions of some kind of energy that works together. So why not have 13 skulls, one major skull in the center surrounded by 12? So now, whether this legend is true or not, there isn't any absolute um, confirmation of it. It's more of like something that I feel, because I believe this happened in Atlantis too. I think they had 13 skulls. I think they had like either 12 or 13 temples, and each temple had a crystal skull there as well. So I just think it's a powerful energy pattern that is not only with skulls, but it's used in many different ways. So therefore, if there were these 13 skulls, then probably each one would be a different color, a completely different energy, a different way to help people. Now, whether this blue one that I've had a vision of when I was in Peru is one of those, I don't know. I mean, it acts like it could be one of them, but you know, this is just a legend that has been shared through the Mayans. Basically, have talked about it, but I think there's some Native American tribes too that maybe know something about this as well. There's been, I wouldn't say I've had a direct contact with somebody who is a Native American. Only one time I met someone in Chicago who was asking me, because I started talking about this blue skull that I had seen. He started asking me questions. So when a native asks you questions about something you know, it's usually an indication it's something they know about, but they want to see what do you know about it, because for the most part, they hold this sacred knowledge and information private because like in the past when the Europeans came to the Americas, they started taking their sacred tools and destroying everything from the indigenous cultures here. So they quickly learned that they have to guard their sacred traditions and cultures and artifacts.
Mm, that makes total sense. And thank you so much, because I think that Hollywood has helped get a lot of these ideas into the global consciousness,
Yeah,
but they may not have, they sensationalized it because it's
exactly.
movies, right?
Yeah,
But
the Indiana Jones movie, they sensationalized it, and they made the skulls look like that. If you get involved with them, terrible things will happen to you because of their energy is uncontrollable, and that's not true at all. You
right,
know,
right. Well, like when I met Max, I have pictures. I didn't dig them out to show them to you, but I had pictures taken with it, and it was huge. It was a big skull. It was bigger than a human skull to me.
mhm.
That's the way it felt. And then we did have someone do a reading. You said you do readings. Do you only do that in person, or do you do that
I can
over
do,
Zoom?
I can do it over Zoom too. So
Okay,
what I'm doing is I'm
cool.
linking in to the person. I mean, it's not as powerful when I do it on Zoom because the skulls are with me. And the whole point of it is when I do it in person, my personal skulls are with that person and they're setting up the energy of the room, and the person gets to hold one or two of them during the session. So those particular crystal skulls can help that individual. But I can send, like, a person could look at pictures like through the free crystal skull ebook that I offer and say, well, this is the one I like or whatever, and I could take that one out, and have it in the session, because the person's still going to be affected by the energy of the session even if you do it by Zoom. But I can do the reading by Zoom too, because for me it's just I just have to link into the energy of the person, and I can do it through a picture, I can do it through video. Even if somebody just sends me a picture of their face, I am able to link in and then I start getting information. So,
Okay.
and Katrina works with me on that too, is, because she's in this higher level, she can see a lot of things which I'm not able to see. And especially, she's going to get information that maybe will be more helpful for women than I could give as a man.
Perfect.
you know
Perfect.
but but I do, in order for me to do this, I have to use my feminine side too, because I'm listening and I'm feeling and everything. So I'm kind of doing both masculine and feminine together to do the session.
Well, that's part of our path to peace anyway. If we're talking about the Center for Advancement of Humanity, is we have to we get to finally embody the light of our soul inside our vessel. And that means that the divine masculine and divine feminine are working in balance. And
Right.
that's what we're talking about. A lot of this is the a perspective of life that humanity has not had in millennia.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
right. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that, about the Center for Advancement of Humanity, what your vision is for that? Because I would love for people to start tapping in to that frequency. That, I mean, to me, the whole New Year's idea, 2025, this whole idea of being in change, but of focusing on what you want to create versus what you want to resist, because that gives it more power. I'd love it if you'd share a little bit more about this Center for
Okay.
Advancement of Humanity, if you were comfortable with that.
Of course. Well, I always talk about it because I never know when I'm talking about if somebody's listening and they go, I like that idea and I want to help Joshua make it happen. So the idea first comes up when Katrina and I moved from Washington State back to her home area of Georgia by Atlanta. So I met a couple of black brothers. One of them claimed that he had access to lots of money. So talked about a center. And then I was asked to sit down, and that's what I did. And this was back in 2018. I started writing, like my vision of it, what came to me, what did I think this would be about. And then nothing happened with it. But then in 2022, and I still have these two galactic beings around me. On my left side is a Pleiadian male, and on my right side is an Arcturian female. And I think like they're protecting me, and they keep saying, "Don't leave Florida. Stay here until you start to actually build the physical part of the center." Is Then they said, okay, start to create your website, start to do Telegram channel for it. And also we have a Rumble video channel where we've like interviewed people. So the purpose of the Center for the Advancement of Humanity is to collect the best information possible on many different subjects to totally, and it'll be a spiritual center, to totally empower people to the full truth of everything that we possibly can share. This would include who we truly are as beings, where did we come from, the true history of our world, how do you develop your spiritual gifts, working with other organizations to co-create, let's say, like conferences and projects that embody in, sharing these truths, like amazing conferences. Like as soon as the center gets formed and I have resources, I'm immediately going to start looking at creating a totally free Crystal Skull conference in Florida. So in other words, it won't cost you anything to attend, or if you want to see it online, we'll make sure that it's online. Um, and we might even have so many resources available that if there's certain people that have a challenge to get there and they really want to get there, that we pay all their expenses and the speakers and everything. But it's really about focusing on like higher spiritual truths, like these two galactic beings I told you are telling me that they are going to give to our center their higher spiritual truths. And then we need to kind of like bring it down so people on the earth can kind of understand all these truths and everything that they've been living for a long time. So it's going to be spiritually based. I mean, some of the subjects we might talk about is the different galactic races that exist, the true history of the earth. What is Tartaria about? Is the earth really a globe, or is it something else? I believe that we're not a globe. So what is the true nature of the earth, and where does that come from? Spiritual truths. I have no clue, because what's going to happen is as I start to hire different people, and they're going to be asked only one question: what makes your heart sing? Do you know? We need that. You're hired. That's it. I don't need to know what their experience has been. before or whatever, as long as they're doing what makes their heart sing and it's coming from a spiritual base, this is the type of people we'll put together. And as they bring their gifts, this is what's going to help us to decide what projects we're going to create. But the key to it is not to allow our imagination to limit us. Whatever we could think about, like maybe there's giants that keep coming up. What's that all about? Well, I would like to do research projects to totally find out, what's the history of the giants, and are there still giants that exist on the earth, and could we actually film them and talk with them?
Yeah.
So something of this nature, anything we can imagine. Or like, is there a dome? Like there's some people who believe there's a dome above us. Well, I would like to show with absolute certainty, with absolute proof, that that dome does actually exist. And what is it about, and how is it affecting us, and where did this dome come from? So, really crazy things to
Right.
come up with. So that's what the center will be about. So,
Excellent.
so first we'll have a couple of interesting projects we'll start with, depending on the people that I find who want to work for me, And I already have a vision too, like every morning when we start, we're going to be dancing and singing together. And we're going to make sure that when people come visit our center, that they feel this joy and celebration. Okay. Because I think they're never going to want to leave. They're going to go, I love this place. I don't want to leave here. And we'll have places for people to stay too in there. And we'll create sister centers too. Like I have some people already who are interested they either already have their own center. And I said, look, we won't change anything. You just decide you become a sister center, and then we can help you with your projects. And you just let people know that you're a member of this network, So, and I asked Argis, my future self, I said, in 2040, does the Center for the Advancement of Humanity still exist? And he goes, what are you, crazy? It's all over the world here. That's why
Oh,
they don't want you to leave Florida right now. You have to build the first one.
that's
You
great.
have to
That's
get that
great.
first one started. So,
Okay, so for the people that are on here right now and that are we are giving them a wonderful idea of the joyful reunion that they can have with their higher knowing. And I want to give them a little bit other practical information if we could, because you are, because of your experience for the past 40 years or 35 years of working with crystal skulls and working with your intuition, if they wanted to get started right now with a new skull, or even if they were gifted an older skull, what would you tell them to do to work with it so that they could get contacted by their guides and their support team?
okay. So meditation is the first thing. Literally hold the skull and go into a meditation without any expectation whatsoever. Like, don't think, okay, I'm going to meditate and then this is going to happen to me. I don't know what's going to happen to you. When we all go into meditation, it's different how we experience it. So you have to come in as a blank slate without any expectation. So you just start to meditate with it and see if you start getting like some form of communication or intuition or feeling or whatever. Now, the other, this is what came into my mind immediately, which would be a really good exercise, but it's totally way out there and crazy. But that's sometimes what you need to do. You have to do crazy things that just come to you. Would be to go outside in a special place, like in nature somewhere where you feel a total affinity for and no one else is there, and take your crystal skull and put on music that you have to dance to. In other words, when you hear it, like I'm a musician, so I have all this music on my MP3 and I will meditate in the morning, and I'm starting to play guitar in my bed, and I'm moving my body and I'm dancing, and I can't help myself because that music just, it activates me. So if you could go out into nature with your crystal skull and bring a kind of music that you could play out loud or put on headphones and an MP3 player and just dance and sing where nobody sees you, so you don't have to hold back. See, this is the key that happens for most of us is we've been taught, oh, you shouldn't do this or that, or you should hold back. No, you have to totally allow who you are to come out without any limitations. So the way I would dance and sing with a crystal skull will be completely different than how you would do it. So just try that. Just try that experience. So first you're meditating with it and see what happens. And maybe it takes you a couple of weeks before you have communication, or maybe you start meditating and you wake up and you start getting dreams or something like that. And then just take it and go outside and dance and sing with it. Okay. With no one else around, just let yourself totally go. Okay. Because when you do that, that's your child inside that's being expressed, but it has to be the right music. And it might be a meditative music. So maybe you won't dance and sing. Maybe you'll just be outside to meditate. You have to go with your own flow of idea of what to do, and experiment. You try one thing. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, maybe I can try this, or I could change it this way. So eventually, what happens is if you truly work with your crystal skull, you'll finally get into a direct alignment with it, and it will guide you all the way, all the step of the way how to go. But it has to be one that you resonate with. Don't just accept, well, this person just gave me this one. Well, if you don't feel an affinity for it, nothing may happen with it. Okay. You really need to have one, like if you were to go on like eBay where they have people selling it, or you go into a crystal store and you're looking at all the different ones, but there's one that just grabs you. I don't know why, but that one over there, I like that one. I'm feeling a connection with that. That's the one you want to work with. Okay. So it could be the same thing too. If you come to my Facebook page, I still have these skulls from India that I haven't found their guardians yet. So occasionally I put one up and somebody will say they like it, or like this dragon one that I showed you. Nobody
It's
has named
beautiful.
this one yet either. This one is still waiting for its guardian. So, you might say, Joshua, I don't know. I like that one. Can you show me some more pictures? Or I have some video of it too. I can show you. And if it resonates with you, then, I work with you. First of all, I'll work with you if you want it to be activated, because all I have to do is put on my right hand and Katrina comes right in and she starts doing her thing with the skulls too. And then I put them with my other ones because they're already charged, and I let them sit for like a week. Nobody has ever complained since it's just me sending them out, and I don't even know how many skulls I've sent out since Katrina went. Nobody has ever complained about any of them. They all felt special energies. They all were happy with them, and so on. So
Oh,
that's
that sounds great. That sounds great. And it sounds really doable. I mean, this isn't something that's, going to be a New Year's resolution that you couldn't keep, because doing meditation at least half an hour a day is a
oh,
gift that you give yourself.
it's just taking the action and being persistent. Uh, because when I was meditating with Portalus, I didn't know why I'm doing that. That's just what I felt to do. And then all of a sudden other things happen. Or I went to a fair and I had him and I was doing sessions and I had the most sessions with him. Okay. And the other readers weren't comfortable with me being there because I was doing something completely different. But it wasn't just because I was doing something different. It was because this worked, because he became an extension of me. And
Right,
so, we
right.
worked together as a team.
Yeah.
So, so that's why it happened. Now, if you get a crystal skull, it might just be for your personal use, or you may decide, oh, for my light project, I'm going to work with that skull. It's going to help me, like to heal other people, or to go into a higher meditative state. You just don't know. You just have to be open like a child and just say, okay, I have this thing. Let's see what happens. You have to look at it this way. The worst case scenario is nothing will change. The best case scenario is everything could change. Like some people have yelled at me and said, Joshua, why didn't you warn me when I got this skull that my life would start changing in a big way? And I said, well, I don't know what's going to happen to you, but they are a catalyst for making you become more of who you truly are. That's how I
Perfect.
see it.
Perfect. So Joshua, let's give the audience, because we need to wrap up. We'll have to do this again.
Of
But
course.
if you would be so kind to explain how people could get their free ebook
Okay.
from you, so that they could keep going with this.
Right. Okay. So the easiest way to contact me is just send me an email. And you shouldn't think that, oh, Joshua's so busy with all these projects. I dare you to contact me. I need you to contact me. I'm not busy during the week. And I love when I have people that I'm talking to all over the world online. Okay, so I don't mean to be a bossy Aries here, but don't let anything stop you. If there's something you want to know, a question you want to ask, you want to get an ebook, if you want to ask me about how to get a crystal skull, or maybe you might be interested in one of these, my email address is the best way to contact me. And that's crystal skull explorers, plural, crystal skull explorers at gmail.com. That's the
Perfect.
best way to find me. And then if you want to go to the website, which he's been showing you on the bottom there, it's cse.crystalskullexplorers.com. Now, if you want to know about the Center for the Advancement of Humanity and the Rumble channel, or you want my list of these 9 free ebooks, because I actually have a direct link you can go to get it. They're all in PDF. You really want to email me at crystalskullexplorers@gmail.com.
Yes.
That's the easiest way. Then I can give you everything. Or if you're in Florida, if by some chance you're in Florida and you want to be part of these soul family gathering groups, because we have 4 of them and they're all set up for January. Saturday's our first one in Tampa. You should contact me too. I'm looking for more soul family here. So
Okay.
any way I can be of help, just contact me via email. That's the easiest.
Great. Okay. Well, and I did put all of that information for all the links in all of the descriptions. So hopefully people will take you up on this. And I'm so glad that we started out this year with your interview and your energy. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you're doing to make this place the paradise it was intended to be.
Well,
So,
all we can do, Kathy, is be ourselves, and we might as well have fun and enjoy ourselves while we're down here. And just don't let these false movies that are going on around us to stop you from being your true self,
yes,
because something is gonna. It's like there's going to be a curtain opening up, and you're going to go, "This is really how it is. I can't believe it. It's great." Well, this is what's getting ready to happen.
that's right.
So.
That's right. It's everywhere. Disclosure is imminent. They're not. No one's waiting for the government. So when you realize that there's an expansive part of you that you can tap into and create and make your dreams come true in service to humanity, this is a time we're so much more powerful than we know. So
Yes.
anyway, well, thank you, Joshua, and Happy New Year to everyone. Please share this. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and support this beautiful work that Joshua is doing, and go get your free ebooks. They're real easy to read. So thank you, Joshua. Thank you.
You're welcome. Everyone
Thank
have a
you,
great
everyone. Bless